All right, tight end. I want to announce our All-American, and then I also want to have a philosophical conversation. So Hack, I'm going to hit you up on Brock Bowers out of Georgia. He is the All-American for the field of 12 in 2022. I'd love your analysis on him. And then I want to flip it over to you, Trevor, and talk about this position, because tight end is like in air quotes. It could be old school tight end. It could be hand in the dirt tight end. It could be flex tight end. It could be you're going to be in the wing a little bit as a tight end. You're going to be an H-back tight end. Like, I just think the position flexibility is dramatically different than it was when you played, when I played. And certain guys aren't even up for the Mackey Award that play tight end because the award committee is saying, well, you don't put your hand in the dirt enough, which is a unique conversation in and of itself. So, Hack, let's talk about Brock Bowers first, and then Trev, let's talk about the position.
Yeah, I think what he did last year, again, another young guy. I think he was a freshman, redshirt freshman, something like that last year, but young guy in terms of his experiences at the college level, played in every stage and every spotlight that you could think of and figured out ways to make plays. He bends well, he can run well, catches the football, obviously, which is a huge thing. You know, any way that he needs to get it done, he does it. And I think, to your point, Yogi, what I think separates him from a lot of guys is that he is the all-encompassing tight end. He is not afraid to stick his nose in there and be a factor in the run game, especially at a place like Georgia, where that is a heavy part of their offense and how they operate. They want to establish the run, and then everything else opens up after that. If you have a guy who's not willing to do that, his impact gets limited because you're going to have to be switching out personnels, and then you're not really creating a mismatch from a scheme standpoint. You're creating more mismatches based on skill set. So he not only has skill advantages, but he also, because of his willingness to stick his hand in the dirt, his nose in there, and has a willingness to block, he doesn't have to leave the field. You know, you could be in 12 personnel or 11 personnel, and realistically you're swapping out a receiver and Brock Bowers is there. If you want to go into 10, you could leave Brock Bowers out there as a receiver. He does not have to come off the field. So he's very, very special. And I think his development in kind of throwback but new school combination is what really intrigues me about him. And then again, the scheme down there, I think really fits his skill set well.
Yeah, I'll talk about Brock for just a second and then do tight end in general, Yogi question. But I think the biggest things that Brock brings to the table is that he's a young guy who's now an old guy. Yeah, he is young. He's only a sophomore, but the experience that he gained last year, he is now a leader on that ball team. And he set the standard for what tight end should be around the country, at least for the next couple of years. And then a national championship under his belt. Not many guys can say that early on in their career. And that should give you all the confidence in the world to go and try and chase that goal again. But in terms of him, and as it relates to just the tight end position, back in the day, it was, okay, can the guy put his hand in the ground and can he move, a 9 tech or a 7 tech, or what can this guy do to help us in the run game? And then we got to sub him out if we want to bring in another tight end to go back at an H-back position and come and do kind of a split blocking and cut the end coming up the field. And then we got to run him off the field and bring in another guy that's going to, we're going to go 10 personnel and spread it out. Well, nowadays, Hack, you hit it on the head. Being dynamic is what a great tight end has to be. To be able to put that defense in a bind when we're running these no huddle offenses so that we can switch from 10 personnel to 11 personnel, bring in another guy, and you can run a bunch of different plays out of a bunch of different formations without ever taking anybody off the field. And you see that at every level. Who are the best tight ends in our game today? Right? Travis Kelce, the guy's a freak of nature and he can do it all. He can put his hand in the dirt. He can run routes just like a receiver can. He can get in the backfield. He can do it all. Mark Andrews, same thing. Mark Andrews came in to college as a receiver and he almost left Oklahoma because Bob Stoops and staff wanted to switch him to tight end. Obviously, you see how that's worked out for him, right? George Kittle, another guy. These guys are athletic enough to be receivers, but they're tough enough to stick their hand in the dirt. And just that dynamic, that's the perfect word for it. Being dynamic is the new position for tight end in college football.